Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much. For those of you who don't know, my son Ross Ulbricht is serving a double life sentence plus 40 years, no parole, first-time offender for all nonviolent charges. But I do admit he is a dangerous person. And he's dangerous because he had a very dangerous idea, an idea that threatened the status quo and the government and the financial powers. And that idea was an online free market website that used Bitcoin as the means of exchange and was out of the control of the people who control money. It adhered to the non-aggression principle. Many legal things were sold as well as illegal things, such as drugs, mostly user amounts of cannabis. But it was like eBay, only it was private, anonymous for the most part, and used Bitcoin. So this is from the trial, and it's saying nothing that harmed someone else, that did not adhere to the principle of not creating a victim, was permitted. And this is right out of the Silk Road Seller's Guide, saying nothing whose purpose is to harm or defraud, no child porn or anything to do with pedophilia or stolen items, and so on. It was meant to be, to adhere to the non-aggression principle. And there were some people, very powerful people, who I believe were very threatened by this. The full force of the federal government using the NSA, and actually Edward Snowden revealed this about a year ago. It was published by The Intercept. The NSA was urgently targeting Bitcoin users a few months before Ross was arrested and Silk Road was taken down. Now, they're supposed to be keeping us safe from terrorists, but apparently they were very concerned with keeping us safe from people who used an alternate currency that they had no control over. And actually, terrorists get shorter sentences than what Ross was given. The government knew very well that Ross is not a kingpin, that he's not dangerous, that he's not a violent person, although they smeared him with allegations of planning violence that were never brought to trial and were dropped in another indictment with prejudice. They're all gone, but they used it to smear Ross. But the judge at sentencing said she knew he wasn't a kingpin. She said, "We know you started this site for a philosophy. And we're just not sure that's a philosophy you've given up." So basically she's saying it's such a dangerous philosophy, this philosophy of free market interchange among individuals, that you need to be put in a cage for the rest of your life. We can't let that get out. I really believe Ross is a political prisoner, and one of the reasons is if you look at the other defendants in the case, starting with the biggest drug seller on Silk Road, he got 10 years. He and Ross have the same offense level. It's part of the system in the government, in the Bureau of Prisons. It's all under 10 years. And the guy, Blake Benthall, who operated Silk Road 2, that the government said was identical but bigger, he never went to prison at all, and now that it's come out that, well, his punishment was to pay 2 years back taxes, and Ross is sitting in a cage for the rest of his life. This isn't right. But because Ross really put Bitcoin on the map, because with his vision through Silk Road, Bitcoin became known and viable, and as I had said this morning, some people say he may be the second most important figure in Bitcoin history after Satoshi. There's a lot more information on our website. There's something called Railroaded, the targeting and caging of Ross Ulbricht. It's based on the public record. Unfortunately, the government has chosen to keep much information still sealed, undisclosed and encrypted. So we can't get to the whole story, but even with what's in the public record, it's pretty riveting. And we have you can read it, you can listen to it on podcast. And people say, wow, I couldn't put it down once I started, because you really get an insight into how they operate. So Ross wanted me to read you something. You know, there's a lot of talk about what is Bitcoin. Is it money? Is it a store of value? Is it a scam? And much as what Snowden said today, what Ross says it is freedom. That's what Bitcoin is about. That's why it's so important. So I'm going to read this to you from him. Something special happened in the first year or so after Satoshi gave us Bitcoin, something no one expected and many thought was impossible. Try to imagine Bitcoin back then, before you could buy things with it, before there was an exchange rate, before anyone really knew what, if anything, would happen with it. Bitcoin didn't start out as money. It became money, but did so unlike any money that came before it. For all the things Bitcoin has made possible, for all the ways it is changing our world, we don't fully appreciate or even understand what happened in those early days when it was just a plaything for geeks. Every other money that predates Bitcoin in the long history of human civilization was valued for reasons other than its use as money. Cattle in Africa, postage stamps in prison, seashells and precious metals all have been used as money and fit this pattern. The only exception is fiat money, something declared to be money by an authority. But even national fiat currencies were once backed by something with value like gold. Bitcoin changed all that. It had no prior value, and no one was forced to use it, yet somehow it came to be a medium of exchange. People who don't understand and care little for Bitcoin can nevertheless accept it as payment because they know it can be used to pay for something else or be exchanged into conventional money. People often mention the pizzas that were bought for 10,000 Bitcoins and, in hindsight, poke fun at the guy who ate what would have become a multi-million-dollar lunch. I'm more interested in the person who gave up 2 perfectly good pizzas for mere Bitcoins. What did he or she see in those bits and bytes, that digital signature on something people were calling a blockchain? Whatever motivated the pizza seller may have also called to the early miners who couldn't liquidate but happily hoarded. It may have inspired the ones who simply gave Bitcoins away by the thousands. Whatever it was something new. Classical economics says exchange won't happen unless both parties value what they are getting more than what they are giving up. So where did the value come from? Bitcoin should never have gotten off the ground, but it did. The early adopters of Bitcoin had no way of knowing what we do now. All they had was a dream, a conviction, and enough infectious enthusiasm to bootstrap a digital contrivance into a multi-billion-dollar phenomenon we are only beginning to see the effects of. And then he talks about them and he says, they dreamed of a future where the economic power of the world is accessible to everyone, where value can be transferred anywhere with a keystroke. They dreamed of prosperity and freedom, dependent only on the mathematics of strong encryption. And therefore, Bitcoin was birthed onto fertile ground and was recognized by those that had been waiting for it. This was an historic moment, far more important than pizzas or electric bills running up from mining. The promise of freedom and the allure of destiny energized the early community. Bitcoin was consciously, yet spontaneously taken up as money while no one was watching, and our world will never be the same. It's freedom. That is the underlying message of Bitcoin. And that's why Ross was so taken with it and saw the potential for monetary freedom around the world and what he wanted to support with Silk Road. Please help us free him. He can be a lot more useful out here. I mentioned the essay that's trending on Bitcoin Magazine right now that he wrote, The 5 Keys to Inner Strength I Learned from 5 Years in Prison. You'll get a sense of the kind of person he is. We have a petition. It can be found at freeross.org. Please sign the petition and spread it around if you haven't already. Please continue to do so. My goal is 500,000. I feel like we can get some attention with that, and even before that. But 500,000 has a nice ring to it, you know. And we have. I mentioned this morning, you know, if you have political connections with the White House or Washington or anywhere really, please let me know. And please, you know, if you can, help us financially. We've got 5 lawyers. We have a habeas petition with 3 of them working on it right now. We have a clemency effort with another lawyer and his firm. And then there's this horrible movie that's about to be produced start production next month. I was slipped a copy of the shooting script, and in it, he portrays and dramatizes Ross as a bloody assassin who kills somebody in the movie, showing Ross by his name, using his real name, actually murdering someone. And I'm like, whoa, that's going to be great for our clemency effort and, you know, changing the narrative. And so we also have lawyers trying to stop that. It's endless. And so if you have made money with Bitcoin or just have enough to be able to help us financially, I mean, you know, Ross, in many ways, people have told me Bitcoin would not be what it is and people would not have the wealth they have right now if it weren't for him. He is fighting for his life. He is in a cage. And I want him out. I want him here next year. I want him up here talking to you, not me. So please donate, give what you can, spread the word, and help me free him. He belongs out here with us. Thank you. Yeah.